friends, and it's Funky Play Brothers, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. And today we're reading He-Man and the Master of the Universe, Tales of Eternia, a Netflix animated series, Lost in the Void, written by Lucille Sandboy, chapters 28 and 29. Chapter 28. The friends stared out at Castle Grayskull as the ship approached it. The first time Teela had seen the castle in this world, it was because she'd been desperately seeking out help but couldn't find any. Now she knew that help was waiting there for the last person she would have expected. "That's him," Adam asked, coming up beside her. She looked down at Zodak lounging in his throne. "That's him." Duncan brought the ship down, and the team filed out toward Zodak, who looked at each of them in turn, nodding. This was everyone, or it was almost everyone. There's still the Teela of this world. She was technically part of the team, but she was also working for Skeletor, even though she didn't seem to like it very much. Teela was about to ask Zodak about her other self, but he turned away and then toward the castle. "What is this?" she asked. "Come out, Eldris." Teela had told the man many times that Eldris was who she'd been looking for. She asked that she shouldn't have been surprised that he knew about her existing in the world. Well, he seemed to know everything, but there was something different about the way he said Eldris' name. Something almost sad, but why? "Who's Eldris?" Duncan whispered, leaning toward Teela. "She's the guardian of Castle Grayskull." Eldris appeared then, and unusual in her semi-transparent form. Duncan leaned over again. "Is she a ghost?" "It's complicated. Definitely a ghost," Crass muttered. Adam nodded to himself. "That's her. That's the lady who was there when I ran away." Eldris blinked in surprise as she looked around all of them, but when she saw Zodak, she actually stepped backward. Who?" But wait. Teela looked from Eldris to Zodak and Zodak to Eldris, and then back again. "You know each other?" Zodak, or was it Zur, gave her a casual glance. "We were co-workers of a sort at one time, not in Eternia. Very boring job. You wouldn't be interested." Teela suspected that she would be very much interested in what had he and Eldris worked together to do, but he didn't seem to want to say more than that. He then turned his focus entirely on Eldris. "I brought the Masters here for your guidance on retrieving the Sword of Power, and thereafter as they continue their journey in this world." "Co-workers?" she asked, quirking an eyebrow. Zach grins. "Do you disagree?" Eldris shook her head. "No, we did once work together, but they aren't masters. Perhaps they will be." Eldris sighed. "You, of all people, are telling me no interference in the affairs of Eternia. You who so preached strict observance only. Fate is written in the stars and cannot be unwritten. You said I was a fool to get involved. That it would only come back at me tenfold." She turned her eyes downward. "And you were right." Sheila couldn't believe what she was hearing. All Zodak had done the entire time showed she'd known him was interference. That was like his entire personality, but Eldris was shocked by it. Zodak cleared his throat and glanced at Teela before looking back at Eldris. "Someone taught me the value of helping others, even at a great cost to yourself. I've been worlds with your influence and worlds without. I've seen people love and curse you, and I have seen the joy you experience when you are helping your friends. And I see now that there's none of that as you stand apart from them. Fate is not written in the stars. It's written by the choices people make." Eldris frowned, but didn't say anything otherwise. "Besides," he added, nodding to Teela, "by virtue of her existence, you contradict yourself. You must have broken your vow at least a little bit." Eldris pulled herself to straighter and seemed flustered, but Teela couldn't understand why. What did that even mean? What did her existing have to do with Eldris? She could figure that out later. Right now, they needed the woman's help. Teela stepped forward. "We need you. We can't defeat Skeletor. We can make a better Eternos. A better Eternia. I know that something went wrong in your past, but I don't think you realize how important you are in the world. You're a huge part of the reason why so many things went right. If you have your help, we can win." She kept her eyes on her mentor, trying to convince her They needed her help, and Tila thought that maybe Eldris might need them too. She'd been alone in the castle for so long. Eldris' eyes softened as she looked at Tila. Then she turned to Zorak, who approached her. I was merely curious, Zorak said, puffing out his chest and crossing his arms. She trapped herself in the void, looking for you. Tila flushed. He didn't have to tell her all that. Eldris closed her eyes and took a deep breath. You'll need someone on the inside to help you, preferably one with strong skills of concealment and retrieval. She opened her eyes and looked at Tila. I assume you know who I mean and where to find her. The others looked at her curiously and Tila nodded. Eldris held her hand out in the air and staff of magic materialized automatically. Tila reached behind her back, but hers was still there. This was the staff from this world, for this world. Tila. Eldris handed it to her. She'll know where the sword is and kept and how to retrieve it. And she'll need this from her. From there, it's up to you. She looked at Adam and he jerked to attention. You already have the power. You always did. She gestured to them. All of you do. Remember that being a champion isn't about being special or strong. It's about how you decide to use that power. Around her, Tila watched the others straighten their backs and set their jaws. They were still nervous and scared, but Eldris' words had made a difference. She knew they'd made a difference for her too. Zorak nodded. Tila, now go, and I hope that the next time I see you, you'll be victorious. Chapter 29. Adam made a gagging sound as a drop of murky water splashed onto his face. Tila rolled her eyes through inwardly, and she glad I hadn't dropped on her. It wouldn't have, because she was intimately familiar with how to avoid that happening. The others were less experienced, threw crafts in her helmet to avoid it. Even so, the girl had her arms wrapped around herself, her eyes darting. These tunnels have stood strong for years, Tila said. No chance to cave in. I know, Crass ground her out between her teeth, but her arms did seem to loosen a bit. So this other version of you, Tila, I guess, will she help us? Tila bit her lip. I think maybe she can be convinced to help, just like you were all. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence, Crass Marsh, Adam said suddenly, stopping beside Crass, and they froze. Do you hear that? Tila cursed herself for getting distracted by the conversation. First rule of thievery, be observant. She strained to hear along with the rest of the team. Cringer frowned. I don't hear any. The wall next to them burst open, and they were blasted with a mix of concrete and dust. A chunk hit Tila within her stomach, and she cried out, clutching at it while stumbling to her feet. When the dust cleared, Cronus was revealed, grinning at them and brandishing some sort of weapon that pulsed beside him. Evelyn stepped out of the rubble, grinning wickedly. Well. Looks like we found some rats. Tasty, Raquaz added. It was Tila's first time seeing both the word witch and the vile beast-eyed hunter in this world. Evelyn wrinkled her nose. Rats are not. You know what? Never mind. Tila could hear Cringer snarling beside her as she shook off. Rubble, his eyes locked with Raquaz, who had forced the tiger to fight in pits against his other tiger friends, and stole his claws. Raquaz grinning nastily. Raquaz sees the kitty got new claws. Have me show you how they work, Cringer growled, flexing his paws. Tila, meanwhile, was trying not to panic. This wasn't supposed to be happening. This plan was to quietly sneak into the palace, convince Tila to get them the sword, power up, and then defeat Skeletor and his minions. Told King Skeletor he should have sent us for the kid instead of the snakes, Cronus grunted. You want something done right, you have to do it yourself. He paused and squinted at Tila. Hey, what are you doing with them? Evelyn rolled her eyes. It's not her. She's here with us. She waved at Tila, who stepped out from behind her. Her eyes went wide when she saw Tila, and then they narrowed. You found a witch to impersonate me? Tila's eyes darted around the space. Adam was in the corner trying to comfort a panicking Crass, who was curled up nearly into a ball. The blast must have made her think the tunnel was caving in, creating that feeling of being trapped, like when she was stuck in the crash wreckage as a child. Duncan and Cringer were in better condition, and she'd made sure that Duncan brought the wrench that would power his his power weapon. Crass had her helmet, and she Adam the guard staff, and Cringer his claws. That didn't change the fact that they'd just fought the giant snake and were tired, and not battle experienced enough to be dealing with the Dark Masters. Tila's shoulders slumped. Evelyn's grinned. It's always so much easier when they know they're beat before they even start, and within minutes the friends were captured. Somehow Tila's cell managed to smell like at least 3 different types of moldy cheese, each with their own distinct scent. If she wasn't on the verge of throwing up her dinner, she might have even been impressed for how own face scowled at her as Tila too shut the cell door and walked away. Evelyn came to her cell and grinned. You can hang out here for a while the king decides what to do with you. Thomas laughs. Yeah, if you're lucky, he'll vaporize you. If not, then you'll get to live a long life down here, and your young prince can be paraded around with Daddy. Yes, and Raquaz will. The beast pod struggled to find something to add. Let's just go, Evelyn said with a sigh. Yes, Raquaz will go. He cackled and joined the rest of the Dark Masters in leaving the dungeon. Except they weren't Dark Masters at all. Tila had noticed that when they attacked, Evelyn, Cronus, and Raquaz hadn't used any sort of special powers or taken hold of Havoc to power up. Cronus didn't even have his signature metal jaw, and his normal one it was strange, but she couldn't dwell on it. They had bigger fish to fry, namely how to get out of here. So much for Tila too, Crass mumbled in the next cell over. Thankfully she'd seemed to recover from the blast underground, but that didn't mean she was happy. Adam sighed. Tila had known her other self was going to be like that, right? Tila didn't know what to say. She didn't even gotten that far. She'd still been focused on the task of finding the other Tila. She hadn't been expecting an ambush. I think if we could get her alone, it might be different. We need to get out of here first, Duncan added from farther down. Added, yes, and perhaps the young woman can return my claws to me as well. That had taken the ones Duncan made him when he locked them away, along with the inventor's wrench and both magical staffs. Crass still had her helmet, probably because they hadn't seen it as a weapon. Okay, Adam said, so we need to make a plan for how to get out of here. What? There is no way out, a gruff voice said from behind them. Adam fell silent, and Tila turned to watch as Randor walked up to the door of his cell. If it still had the open space from when Tila had rubbed on it. If there were, I wouldn't be here. Tila heard a loud gulping sound and knew it was Adam. Before anyone could say anything else, the doors to the cell block opened. Again and down the hall came Tila too. She went directly to Tila's cell and frowned at her. Normally you wouldn't be able to maintain a spell like this while fighting you for your life. And we searched you. You're not using technology, so why do you look like me? Would you believe that I'm from another world? Tila too frowned. Let's say that I do, I don't, but okay. More importantly, why were you down in the sewers? We were looking for you. She blinked at me. Tila took a deep breath. Either she could sidestep around it, or she could just tell the truth. She had to believe in the other Tila. She had to believe in herself and who she knew who she was. We have a way to defeat Skeletor. We need your help. Are you really happy like this, hurting people? I saw what you did for Randor. You didn't have to do that. You aren't like the rest of them. Tila 2's eyes widened and she looked around, as if worried that someone would come and overhear them. We need to get the sword to power to Adam. It'll give us the power to defeat Skeletor. We just need you to get it. The other Tila backed away, shaking her head. He can't be defeated. He's too powerful. He can. Tila looked herself in the eye for a long moment. Her palms pressed against the cell doors, willing her other self to help them. Instead, the girl kept shaking her head, turned and left the dungeon. That's the end of chapter 28 and 29. So, friends, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow us on social media, funkyplaybrothers, funkyplaybrothers. Support our blog at cashapp, $, funkyplaybrothers. Thanks for watching. Bye!